Uh, I'm Michelle. I'm going to be doing some painting with you guys today. Um, I started painting my wall because I got a little bit bored in isolation, and thought it would be just a bit of a nice project to, I guess, see me through however long this is going to take. So I will be here for about half an hour, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. So please comment and ask me. I will be trying to monitor them. I might get a bit distracted by the painting because I love it and I'll start focusing. But I will try my best to answer any of your questions. So I guess we'll just start. I'll sort of explain to you guys what I'm doing as I go. Basically, I started this by using like a reference image and drawing it onto my wall with grey lead and then rubbing it out and just sort of standing back and trying to get a bit of perspective to see what it looks like. So that's sort of how I sketched it on there. And then I've done like the underlying colours, which you can see now. So I've got a bit of like the orange and then the greens. So what I understand about painting is that it's mostly about layering. So I'm trying to layer. I don't actually really know how to paint, so it's a good beginning. But I draw in my spare time, so I feel like I have a little bit of art knowledge to get me through. But if anyone knows more about painting, please comment and tell me, because I'm keen to learn, and you know, we can learn together. That would be awesome. So I will start by just showing you all what I'm using and what I'm doing, because I guess having that foundational knowledge is nice. So I guess I've got this brush that I've been using. It's quite small in comparison to the size of my wall. So it's probably not the greatest thing to be using. That's okay. And then I've got this very messy, just wooden board that I'm putting the paint on. I have a jar of water to wash the brush. I'm using acrylic paint, so they are soluble in water, which is good. I find them easier to use. A lot of people prefer oil paints, but I haven't really got to the stage where I feel comfortable using oil paints yet. Maybe one day. But I'll show you the acrylic that I'm using, and we might have to do the YouTuber thing. Oh, hi Catherine. So this is the brand. It's probably not working. I don't think they're very good, these paints. But that's kind of okay. They don't need to be amazing. You can do this sort of stuff with cheap paint, like that's fine. It seems to work anyway. I think it just goes to show that you can make art with stuff that isn't, you know, amazing. You can just work with what you've got, which is cool. So I'm gonna start by just building up the green on this leaf, which I'm hoping you guys are at a good enough angle to see it, but I might zoom in a bit later. So to get this darker green colour, I'm going to mix a bit of this one and a bit of this, which is a burnt umber. It looks like brown, so it's brown. So I'm just mixing these on the board that is down at my feet. And I don't put too much of the brown because I don't want the green to be too dark. Oh, thank you. I don't want the green to be too dark because we are trying to layer. So if you go too dark too quickly, you can't really get that depth that you want to get. So I try and go a bit more slowly, and that gives me the ability to build the colour, basically. So this painting I've been working on for, I think, over a week now, just sort of doing it bit by bit. And that's kind of one of the nicest things about painting, is that you can just sort of leave it and come back to it and just keep building and building and building, and eventually it looks amazing. And yeah, it just feels good. So we'll start over here. I usually like to start sort of in the corner, I guess where the darkest bit is, so I can blend it out a little bit, and that might be more of my drawing background that makes me want to do that. That's just what I naturally gravitate towards. If anyone is a painter, I would love to know if this is a good way to actually do this or not. Any feedback would be amazing. But we're just gonna start. And I don't really worry too much about it being perfect, because it doesn't have to be. It's okay if it's a little bit messy. I kind of like it. I'm just sort of filling it in really sort of haphazardly. Like, you can see that I'm not really being too precise with anything, because especially with painting compared to, like, say, drawing, which is what I would usually be doing, it's kind of nice to keep it a bit messy. I feel like you I don't know, it just seems more enjoyable just for me personally. But I don't really have, I guess, a set way or a recommended way that I think you should do something, because I don't really know. So I just kind of do what feels comfortable and what I think looks nice to me. And I'll have a reference image, so I've got a reference image for this. But sometimes I go a bit, I tend to make things up. And just, if something looks weird and I think, you can, Lara, you can paint your walls, why not? Yeah, so if it's not exactly matching the reference image, I think that's okay too. Yes, right? Art should feel good. I agree. I feel like I'm full Bob Ross mode now, like really channeling. But the main reason I like art is because it just makes me feel good. And it helps me sort of focus. I don't know, it's something that I can do that I enjoy just for me. And it doesn't have to be perfect, like just because you feel like maybe you can't draw or maybe you don't know how to paint doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you shouldn't. Yeah, Lara, okay, fair enough. You could paint over it. I don't want to encourage you though. That seems maybe you could get like a really big canvas. Happy trees, yeah. These are happy leaves. Happy leaves and happy flowers. Yeah, I don't know, art makes me feel good. And art gives me that kind of escape if I'm feeling a bit down or just like feel like I need some time to myself to focus or to, I don't know, just get out of my own head a little bit and just enjoy doing something with my hands. It just feels good. It's nice. So yeah, the point of that is you don't have to be a master at art to be able to create art. You can just create it, and you know, if it's good, awesome. If it's not good, awesome. It doesn't have to be. It just has to be fun. So I am just building this leaf colour up now. I've basically just gone in pretty, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's very controlled, it's very messy. But I kind of feel like the messiness heightens the texture of the leaf. Because leaves do have a bit of texture, so we want to sort of keep some of that in there. And I'm gonna put a little bit more of the darker green in. You can see I've left this bit mainly, ooh, we've gone out of focus. Hello camera, focus back in. There we go. I've left this top bit just blank, so I haven't painted over that at all with the darker green, mainly because I want to keep those lighter colours in there to ensure it's got a bit of dimension. So because I'm quite new to painting, I don't know if this is the same rule as it would be if I was drawing, but I tend to want to leave like lighter patches just to ensure that you can get that depth of shading, and it sort of gives your work some perspective. Like it's okay to leave bits blank if they should be blank. I kind of find it hard to explain what I'm doing when I'm painting because for me it feels just comfortable and kind of natural. So I guess I find it a bit tricky to explain why I'm doing this certain thing. But basically I'm just trying to get the depth of like light and shade to make sure that what I'm doing has some dimension and that it looks, I guess, semi-three-dimensional. With this work, I'm not really going for hyper-realistic. Usually, if I was drawing, I would be going for something more hyper-realistic. But this is more just about having fun and painting on my wall. If anyone has any questions or, I don't know, just want to know a bit more about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, go for it. I will keep an eye on the comments as they come up. I'm going to leave this leaf for now just because I've painted on it a little bit already, and it's I had some water on my brush, and now because these paints are soluble with water, it's not building the colour properly. I'll show you. I'm gonna get closer in. So see how it's like really streaky? So I'm just gonna leave that and let that dry for a little bit before I keep building colour on that. Otherwise it's just gonna keep getting real streaky. So I might go back to this one because I was building the colour on this one earlier in the week, and it's kind of gone a bit, it hasn't quite dried the way I would like it to dry, so I'm just gonna keep layering it till it looks how I want it to look. I'll put some darker bits at the top here. Ooh, I didn't mix my paint properly and now that's come out really brown. How do I match colours? I'm also really bad at it, which isn't super helpful. So I just tend to go by eye, and then if I'm mixing a colour that I want to use quite a bit of, but that I haven't like mixed enough of on my paint palette and need to remix it, I will try and remember or like note down the quantities that I've used. Oh, thank you. That's really nice. Yeah, so I'll try and note it down because you can mix a colour one day and then realise that you need it the next day, and then you forget exactly how much of the different like proportions of colour that you've put in. And so I think it's good if you can to write that stuff down, like say like 1 part green and 2 parts brown or something like that, just to give you a bit of an idea so you can try and create that colour again. In terms of like matching it to a reference image, sometimes I will just look at what paints I have. So like this colour here, I have this paint colour which is just the pure colour, and when I looked at the reference image it seemed sort of close enough, so I just kind of went with that to make life a bit easier for myself in terms of being able to replicate that colour. And then I'll probably just, if I want to change it, I will probably just add maybe something a little bit darker. So I've got like a little bit of a darker red, just to give it a bit more, I guess, depth when it's, when this sort of needs to be darker, or when this needs more, I don't know, dimension, colour, whatever it's going to be. Yeah, I hope that made sense. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going on this leaf and building this up, and I hope that you can actually see this. I'm not sure if you'll be able to. I think it's coming across. But as you can see, I'm just sort of darkening the darks at the moment, because I've done those lighter colours underneath already, or those colours that I think are the base colours that sit underneath the darker colours. I can then just go on top and start doing the darks, and I don't really have to worry too much about ensuring there's space for the lighter stuff, or like doing the lighter stuff over the top. Oh, yay, good. Yeah, so it just gives me that bit of flexibility, I guess, instead of doing everything dark straight away and then being like, oh no, I have to suddenly put lights over the top, and that's really hard. Or I find that really hard. It might be that I haven't perfected that properly yet. But with painting in particular, I prefer to go from light to dark, so starting with the underlying light colours and then building the dark colours over the top, because it's just easier to manipulate when you get to like this stage where you're trying to build colour. So then instead of like having to go in with a white in this section, I've already got it there and I can just leave it blank and just sort of paint around it. And I might put some white in there later anyway, just to sort of make it pop a little bit. But for now, this is enough for what I'm needing for it to look like it's got some body. I might just stop talking for a little while and let you guys watch me paint. But I'll keep an eye on their comments, and if any questions come up, I will answer them. Yeah, we'll just have a nice time painting together now. It's worth noting that right now I'm not actually looking at my reference image. I'm just sort of putting darks where I think they should go. And that's just, I guess, something that I've built up through just drawing in my spare time. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're in the right spots, but I'm just kind of going with what I think looks good at the moment. Oh, we got 9 minutes left. Ooh, it's gone quick. In terms of adding these, I'm sort of, I guess you'd say, feathering them in. I'm not putting hard and fast lines in, just because that helps me blend one colour into the other. If you're doing like really hard lines, it's then hard to blend that out. And then it just, I like the sort of feeling like it all flows together instead of having the hard and fast lines. In terms of like strokes and things, if I'm blending, I'll tend to dab a bit more with my paintbrush, just because I find the dabbing lends to blending better, and you can get like that nice gradient. I find if I'm not dabbing the paintbrush, or if I'm just doing like the normal strokes, it doesn't, I guess, translate as well in terms of the colours blending together. I'll go over to this one now. Ooh. This one's actually quite dark already, but I kind of want to build up this section up the top just because I feel like it's not quite how I want it yet. And that's sort of the thing that I really like about painting, even though I'm not usually a painter, but we're giving it a go. You can just keep layering and layering and layering until you get the result that you want, which is kind of nice. It does mean that it takes longer, and painting can sort of feel a bit scary because as soon as you put some paint down, it feels way more permanent than it would if you like using grey lead and you can just rub it out. Painting, you can't just rub it out, but you can paint over it. So that gives you, I guess, a bit of, I don't know, you just have to be confident and just know that the paint that you put down, if it's not perfect the first time, you can go back and layer something on top of it and it'll probably work out fine. I think it's just about trial and error. As I said, I don't have any like formal painting training, so if anyone knows more about this than I do, please speak up and be like, no, Michelle, that's very wrong. What are you saying? But with art, I tend to go with the, just try it and see what happens. And if it looks how you want it to look, awesome. And if it doesn't, it could turn out even better and become something that you're not even weren't even thinking about. So that's, you know, kind of fun. I'm just building up this darker part of the leaf because there's supposed to be like the middle of the, I feel like I want to call it a stem, but it may not be a stem. And I want to make sure that that's kind of visible, although I feel like with this leaf it's not really translating how I would like it to. So I guess to fix that, I'm just going to keep sort of maybe building the darker colours at the bottom and just experimenting with where I'm putting my colours and what brush strokes I'm using. Because like at the moment, I can't really put any lighter colours on top of this because it's so dark. So that sort of limits my options. So I just am kind of going to go with what I've got and just stick to it, and it'll be fine. It'll work out. Okay, we got 4 minutes of you guys watching me paint. 4 more minutes. Still monitoring the comments. If you would like to comment or ask me a question, please do. I will answer them. I'll answer them as best I can. I'm not the wealth of knowledge on this particular topic. If it was drawing, it might be a bit different. I feel like drawing and painting translate in some ways, but then not others. But I'm going to start on this leaf now because it doesn't have any darker colour, and we're just going to build it. Because I'm not looking at my reference image right now, I'm not sure where this lighter bit is supposed to go. But this part I know is going to be dark. And I think that's just because I can see that with these other leaves, it looks like the light is coming from the top. Oh, okay. How much time will you spend working on this at a time? It depends. It's the easy and, I don't know, not great answer. So, maybe like an hour a day, maybe. Sometimes it could be longer. Because this painting is quite large, it's going to take me a really long time to build this colour properly and get this looking how I would like it to look. So, you know, we'll be able to do this for a few weeks and you'll be able to sort of see it as it develops, and hopefully what I'm saying makes more sense as you sort of see it in action. But yeah, so it could take me, I could spend like an hour a day or 20 minutes or half an hour. I think the fun part about this is that I can just leave my paints out sort of in my lounge room and then just come to it when I feel like it, which is sort of fun. It's like something to, I don't know, pass the time a little bit. And then when you step back and look at the end result, it's pretty cool. So it's, yeah. Well, 1 minute. Oh my gosh, that went fast, everyone. That was a fast half hour. I feel like I talked a lot. But thank you for watching. If you've been watching the whole time, amazing. Thank you. I can't believe it. That's so nice. And I will keep doing this on Fridays at 10 a.m. I might look into a bit more art theory next time so I can explain things a bit better for you all. But it'll be nice to keep you all on this journey as it progresses, because at the moment it's getting there, but still a long way to go. So yeah, we'll see you all next week. Bye!